Happy Monday. Happy Magic Monday. Welcome to Allison Appreciates. Let's talk love assumption. Let's talk about persisting until it hardens into fact and an easy way to do that. I am a law of assumption based coach with a nervous system regulation bent, a little law of attraction smattering of stuff that I think is relevant in there as well. And let's get into how to make it easier. How do we make it easier? We literally add it gets easier to everything. So let's say you're SP and you're dating, it's going pretty well, but then occasionally you're like, that felt disrespectful. That felt like I wasn't being prioritized. Okay, so now we have data from the 3D. I'm crooked. We have data from the 3D, so it's got a reflection, an old reflection of an old assumption showing up. Okay, we've got some data. We're not going to be hard on ourselves about this data, but we are going to redirect our thoughts starting right now. My camera has always been straight. Okay, so we're gonna redirect our thoughts right now with, I am always respected and prioritized by my SP. And it gets easier and easier to feel that. It gets easier and easier to feel respected and prioritized by my SP. And I see the evidence often. So that's one way we can do it. We can just decide it gets easier and easier to be XYZ, to get XYZ. So for myself, I'll just give you a couple of examples and you can go ahead and guess the old story because I'm not even going to recite it because you guys don't need to hear it. You know what old stories are. It gets easier and easier for me to pay my bills on time. Money always comes easily to me. Now, what happens when we do get this 3D reflection showing up? Well, we're not going to spiral. What are we going to do? It depends on how much time we have. I would say if you are alone and you're not under some major crunch of a deadline, that it's time to do some nervous system regulation and then one of your favorite activities that help you move you towards your desire feeling more natural. So for me, if I'm alone, I'm going to breathe because that's the easiest one, but you can do butterfly taps. You can stretch, you can go for a walk because then you're activating left brain, right brain, left body, right? So what you can do is you can, just take that moment for nervous system regulation because of course when data from the 3D shows up, we occasionally have that knee-jerk reaction of, well, this is not what I want. This is not my desire, right? So we occasionally have that feeling. But what happens is what we do next. Like Matt Turner would say, doesn't matter what happens. It's not what happens that matters. It's where you take it. Okay. So where are we going to take it? Well, we're going to take it in the direction that feels good. We're going to take it to our desires. We're going to take it to feeling our desires or repeating about our desires, right? So feeling our desires, okay, affirming with feeling or an imaginal act or SAT, state akin to sleep, or meditating on it, or robotically affirming or stating that is my desire. And it gets easier and easier to believe it. It gets easier and easier to know it's true. It gets easier and easier to enjoy it, all of that. So the blanket statement is it gets easier. So if we have an old story around money, like, well, money's not coming in like I would like. Okay, well, we flip that thought. Nope, money always comes in easily from unexpected and expected sources. So we go ahead, start there, right? If we're alone and we need some nervous system regulation because we notice a change in our body, we notice we're feeling it, we're feeling tightness or, we're feeling tightness or pressure somewhere, we're going to release it. So let's do that together. We're just going to release it now. We're going to release anything that's standing in our way because we're abundant and desired is to have it. Therefore, our desires are ours. So let's just release anything that's standing in our way together. 2 more times. Let the shoulders relax. Maybe loosen up that jaw. Maybe get a little fluid. Get a little fluid. I guess I wanted to say flu. I want to say flow and fluid. One more. Shake it out too. Okay. Money always comes easily to me. 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 Money always comes easily to me from unexpected and expected sources. Money always comes easily to me. My bills are always paid on time. 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 And of course, you can do this silently. I find it easier to do it silently, actually, because then people don't look at you going, oh, you always talk to yourself and you look crazy, which is fine. It's okay to talk to ourselves. But once you practice it in the way that's not natural to you, just to see if that feels natural to you, if that makes sense, I find that saying it over and over to myself inside my brain works for me. But obviously saying it out loud is just fine. But basically what we want to do is we want to saturate our thoughts right away when that 3D old story assumption showed up. That's all we want to do. Okay, and then we want to move on with our day. We don't want to get it. We don't want to let it derail us, right? We want to let it get us back on track, because it's just a data point. It's just information of which we can do something with. And every time our old story pops up, we're reframing and we're revising and we're restating it as we would like it to be with our affirmations, right? We're flipping those thoughts. And basically, we're flipping that old story negative thought into an assumption. We are flipping it into what we'd prefer. Oh, SP is disrespectful. No. SP is respectful. I am focused on what I want, not on what I don't want. So SP is respectful. And we can use other techniques too, of course. The I remember when is really good for this. I remember when SP used to not be that respectful. I'm so happy that I'm in a place now where I know that I am the prize. I know that I am prioritized, and SP is always reflecting back to me how much he cares, or she cares, or they care. SP is always respectful to me now. I remember when they didn't always text me back right away. I didn't like that very much. I'm so happy. Pardon me. I'm so happy that they are constantly texting me now. I know that they're obsessed with me. I know that they're desirous of me now. Oh, it feels so good. And see how that's like half imaginal act and half affirmation? That's why I remember when is so good, because it's got both components. So I think that might be all we need to say about this. Is just, we're going to add it gets easier to everything that wasn't previously easy. It gets easier to manage my money. It gets easier to see my bank account blowing up. It gets easier to buy anything I want. It gets easier to buy anything I want. It gets easier to not worry about going out for a night with friends. I can totally cover it. I can totally afford it. It gets so much easier to afford it, right? So it gets easier, can really soften those stubborn old stories, because especially when the reason why the old story gets embedded is because we just remember every time it didn't work out, and we have that catalog. But you can make the catalog of what does work out longer. You can make that a longer catalog. It just takes some practice and some time. It just takes some cultivating some of the awareness like we talk about, and then doing something about it when you don't feel good, or when you are thinking thoughts that don't feel good. And honestly, that is the most important time to affirm, is when you don't feel good. Don't hide under a rock. Don't do what I used to do. I want you to affirm through that experience, because that will guide you towards your preferred way of feeling. Whereas hiding under a rock, it just, like, you're just in a stew of what you don't want. You're in a stew of negative thoughts and feelings. And it's okay to feel that way because you're like, oh, I'm looking at all of these things that I don't want, so that's why I don't feel good. But then you're letting an old news, old story dictate how you feel now. Now is your most important time. So whatever you're doing with it, you want to be doing something that is elevating your two gifts of mind and speech and coming into alignment with God with your two gifts of mind and speech, and knowing that what you want is yours through practice of affirming, of journaling, of I remember when, of isn't it wonderful, of all of these things. And they will carry you along, and pretty soon you'll be out of the bridge of events and you'll have what you want. But we're going to make what we want natural by remembering it gets easier to get there. We can make the bridge not feel like a precarious place to be by using it gets easier. It gets easier to imagine what I want. Something as simple as that. It gets easier to revise situations. It gets easier to revise that situation in my mind. It gets easier to fall asleep in the wish fulfilled and revise my day if I need to. It gets easier. It's natural. It's natural for me to revise my day. You can kind of intertwine, now that I think about it, you can kind of intertwine is not what I want. You can kind of interchange. You can kind of interchange it gets easier and it's natural, right? Because it's natural for my SP to treat me with respect. It's natural for money to be like, for there to be many dollar signs on my bank account. It's natural. It's natural. And just keep doing this to allow it to come to fruition. So happy Magic Monday. It gets easier. It gets easier to use the techniques when I want to feel good and want to feel better. It gets easier to use the techniques to focus on my desires. It gets easier to remind myself that to desire is to have it. And it gets easier to enjoy my day. It gets easier to enjoy my life. It gets easier to distract myself if I really can't affirm around what I want for a moment. And that's okay. It's okay. We are kind to ourselves in the process, always. And nervous system regulation is your friend. So it gets easier. We'll help it get easier. Thank you for staying to the end of my video. Thank you to all of my OOGs and my OGs. Thank you for all my subscribers. And thank you for spending this time with me. And I'll see you on Wednesday.